Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Weekly Show. I know we're missing someone
We are.
very important here, Jim. Jim is sick at the moment, so Jim, I see you in the chat. Get better soon. But I am joined. Well, I'm Stormie, by the way, for those I've audio listeners and stuff at home. And I'm here with Natty.
Hello.
Hello, Natty.
Yes, we're
Thank you so
missing
much for
Straight a
joining me.
lot.
Sorry, Stray, we miss you. Hope you're feeling
Mhm.
better soon. Um,
Yes,
but
but I'm very happy to be here, especially this week because
because
we play games together this week
we
and
did.
we saw each other super recently,
I know,
and
it's
we've
all
just got so much to
happening.
talk about.
I know. It was really nice. I don't think I have had like a proper goer gaming sesh like with the team like yet until just
Mm,
recently. And a few of us jumped on for game that will be mentioned later.
mm,
Yeah, that was really fun, and
yeah.
I'm really excited for the show tonight. I have, if you might have seen it on Twitter, because I have mentioned I did start up a little segment to get us started and just to get us all in the loop with the latest gaming stuff this week. So I should have had a little like jingle for this, but I like
I
it's, you know
know.
it's fine.
We'll
Maybe
we'll have
next
to
time.
we'll brainstorm it.
This is the trial session.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Da.
This is the trial session. So um I am calling it my Stormie's lightning fast recaps of the week. And I say lightning fast, I'm not going to spit them all out, but basically, I'm going to basically let you guys know all the new games that have come out this week so far and coming out at the end of this week. Let you know what is coming to Game Pass. Xbox tweeted out yesterday all the new stuff coming to Game Pass the rest of the month, and also let you know all the latest articles on the website before we get
Mm.
stuck straight into things. So,
Are we gonna find some of these a bit shocking?
oh,
Because
oh.
it's a lightning round?
Oh, maybe? Maybe? I know. The sound effects and the music is something I really wish we had now, but it's fine. It's fine. It's
I
fine.
I almost feel like it's a Dracula music with thundercloud clap
Yeah, and then my
kind of
eyes
soundtrack.
go red and I'm looking
Yes,
like this. Yeah.
yes,
All
yeah.
right. Well, here we go. Games that have released or are releasing this week. Out now, we have A Plague Tale Requiem, which is also now available on Game Pass. That came out Game Pass day one. And we also had, I believe it was yesterday, Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. And just recently, we also had Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection for PC. And the review for that one is actually out right now on GameOnOz.com, written by our very own Royce Wilson. So make sure you give that a read if you are an Uncharted fan and you want to know how this collection plays on PC. So there's all the big stuff out so far this week. And for tomorrow, we have Jackbox Party Pack 9, as well as the new Mario and Rabbids game Sparks of Hope. And then on Friday, we have Gotham Knights and New Tales from the Borderlands. So this week has been really big. Like I like alone. Like just this
Mm,
week. After having I feel like such a quiet year where like releases have been a bit like here and there. This whole week and even next week is gonna be jam packed. So hold on to your wallets. Is
it's a good thing about the holiday season coming up because that's when they start releasing all the big titles. So
yeah,
I was worried because of COVID and recession and other things that we weren't going to be getting so many titles this year. But yeah,
and now they're
lots
all
coming out,
happening
which
at
is awesome.
once. Yeah, now it's
Yeah.
all happening at once. So, for some of these games that are coming out, or have come out this week, or coming out very soon, make sure you keep an eye out on our website for some upcoming reviews. Natty, is there anything that's come out this week that's caught your eye at all, or you might pop on
Oh,
your Christmas wish list or anything just
look,
yet?
we have a group catch up normally called Festivus,
Oh,
which is like 6 weeks before Christmas, where we always get together and play Jackbox, like
oh.
the recent Jackbox game. So I cannot wait for that to be out. It means Festivus is coming up soon, and that's just going to be amazing. We give each other awful gifts. It's amazing.
Oh, that sounds really cool. Is that a tradition?
I don't know if you've watched any of Seinfeld. So
Oh, I haven't.
so there's a thing in Seinfeld where one of the families just get together for Christmas. They call it Festivus, and they just complain. Um,
Oh,
so it's meant to be like an anti-Christmas
yeah, that's really
kind of
cool. I
vibe.
like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I'll just quickly
Yes.
say as well, very quickly, Aliti, thank you. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the podcast. Feels like my games list has never been longer, they say, and
Mm,
I feel the same. I feel
yeah.
absolutely the same. Are
And
you a big Jackbox Party Pack fan in general, Natty, or?
yes, 1,000%. On PC, at parties, New Year's Eve, it always comes out with friends at house parties because I never go out anymore because I'm old. It's just fabulous. Thank you, Gamma. He gets my Seinfeld reference. That is Frank Costanza. He runs the Festivus Festival.
I have to. Maybe I'll just have to watch this episode alone just to get the
Oh,
context.
I think it might be worth it, but you've got to remember that Seinfeld is a bit like everybody's a bad person.
Yes. Yeah. No. No. No.
So watching it in retrospect kind of isn't as entertaining when it's just like, these are just all terrible people doing terrible things. Why is this funny?
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it. I did. I mean, I watched a lot of Friends, and I feel like a lot of that hasn't dated well either. But,
Mm,
yeah. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. Right? Like we love
sorry,
these TV shows.
we're
No, it's not
losing
your
our
fault. It's not
lightning.
your fault. We're just reminiscing. That's all it is. So I mean, for me, Gotham Knights, I'm really interested to see what that is going to be like, especially story
Mm,
wise, because I feel like DC games for me, well, the ones that I've played, particularly the Arkham series, I just feel like the stories are done so well.
mm,
So I'm very excited to see kind of whether that kind of meets those expectations that me and other fans of those Arkham series games have as well. But also the fact that we're getting such a like kind of cool collection of characters to kind of play with, right at the very beginning.
yeah.
I am aware that like I think it's just the 2-player co-op experience they've got for the campaign, but I did see that they announced in November they are introducing like a separate 4-player online co-op sesh, which is
Oh,
pretty
very
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm keen to look into that a bit more. Again, try not to be too biased because I am a bit of a DC fan. But even Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed has a really cool concept behind it. Have you seen much of that?
No, you know what? I kind of burnt out on Ghostbusters game a little
Oh,
bit because
really?
there was a game, a mobile Ghostbusters game that was a bit like, Pokemon Go or like
Yeah,
Wizards Unite, where you go around using a real life map, catching ghosts and stuff.
yeah.
And that didn't turn out super well, so I kind of
You've been a bit burnt.
lost my love for Ghostbusters
Oh
games.
no. Well, I mean, this one like really seems to appeal to me because they describe it on this because it's on the Epic Games Store. I'm just reading what it says here. It
Mm,
says it's a asymmetrical like multiplayer battle, online or offline. So like you'll have I think it looks whether you're because you can hunt or you can haunt as well. It's supposed to be
mm,
quite family friendly, which I kind of like because I don't know, like
yeah.
especially when I mean I don't know. Yeah, I guess Ghostbusters is horror, if you want to like
Mm,
say it loosely. Like, I don't know,
yeah.
maybe because I grew up with it, I'm like, it's not scary. But I guess, for that
It's
family
just a
kind of,
giant marshmallow. It's
yeah, it's
fine.
nothing to be worried about. I think it's, I think, the fact that it's kind of catered towards a more general audience, I think that's really cool too.
Mm,
But yeah, those are the two that
that'll
I'm
be
looking forward to. I haven't played
very cool.
Mario Rabbids game before, but I've heard the first one's really, really good.
Yeah,
Have you
I
played it?
absolutely I love XCOM, which if you talk to anybody, it's really the same gameplay, just they Mario and Rabbids instead of
Yeah.
XCOM. So yeah, anybody who loves like the turn-based strategy, tactical kind of
Mm.
gameplay really seems to love it. Um, Again, not one I've played, but my hubby's played it, and we sit and play games together. So
Yeah.
I get to vicariously get some of his
Like
gaming
live through that.
experience. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that too. I get that too. All right.
I
Well,
do appreciate Charlie's comment in Luigi's Mansion is the best Ghost
oh yeah, how can we
Busters
forget Luigi's
game.
Mansion? It's almost quite fitting as well because obviously we're in the Halloween month as well, so I think that's
We
quite
are.
fitting that Ghostbusters has come around at the same
Mm.
time. Well, coming soon to Game Pass as well this month. Well, tomorrow we have Amnesia. Well, speaking of spooky games, Amnesia Collection and Amnesia Rebirth, as well as another game called Phantom Abyss. On Friday, Persona 5 Royale, or was it Royale
Ooh,
or Royal?
ooh.
And then October 27, this one is PC only. Frog Detective: The Entire Mystery, and there's also Gunfire Reborn and Signalus. Signalus? I know we were talking about this
Signalus?
off stream, but like, how do we pronounce it?
Yeah, we're going with Signalist. Sorry for offending anybody with that.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Gamma, for the link there as well. But yeah, they just got tweeted out yesterday. I remember like years and years ago watching YouTubers play Amnesia and stuff like that. But I get easily scared, but that I'm going to contradict myself a bit later in the show, I think. But
Yes.
those are the new additions coming to Game Pass very, very soon.
That's so exciting. I'm really excited when people get to play Persona 5.
I've never played a Persona game before.
Oh,
yeah. I can tell you're really excited. Like, is 5 a good place to start? Or
look, Persona 4 is my favorite.
Okay.
Well, like top 5 favorite games of all time. Persona 4 is in the mix.
Yeah.
But 5 is great. Like, it's really stylized and really friendly with how it presents the characters and the story and stuff. Because the only thing I want to say about 5 is there's some really adult, mature content like right up front
Yeah,
that I
right.
think like people don't really expect.
Yeah, okay.
So if you do want to play it, I'll talk to you about it first, so you're prepared.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, no, it's Persona games are great because you get the slice of life stuff, which is you go to class and answer quiz questions, and you go around the city and buy books and study to boost like your character stats, and then you go fight in dungeons at night with your crew.
Really cool.
Yeah,
I think the only thing I know off Persona is Joker because of Smash Brothers.
Yes,
that's my only kind of connection I have with the game there as well. Jim says as well, Phantom Abyss is so much fun. Gavin says there's also a VR Ghostbusters game coming too. I don't know if I could do it in VR. I know I was just like, oh, Ghostbusters isn't that scary, but I don't. When stuff is in VR, that's a whole different level of immersion.
Yeah, 1,000% agree with that. It's very different when it's like a centimeter away from your eyeball.
Yeah, exactly. And then to finish up the recaps of the week, I'm going to let you guys know about all the latest Game on Oz reviews. The team's working, always work super, super hard. And I just thought, hey, just in case you missed any of them, check them out, gameonoz.com. As I mentioned before, we have Royce's Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection for PC review, Reflex's Logitech G502X series and where it all started article, Dylan's review of the horror game The Fridge is Red. So if you're looking for something scary, this Halloween, maybe go give that one a read. Elentric came out with a Slime Rancher 2 review. Doom Cutie put out a review for, is it Dakar? Or is it?
I say Dakar.
Dakar?
Not Dakar. Dakar.
I was going to sound really Aussie and be like, Dakar.
Oh,
like,
oh no, Dakar.
Anyway, sorry. Dude, no. I was like, I was stumbling across my pronunciation. So go check out, if you like your racing stuff, go check out Doom Cutie's review. Doom Cutie's a big racing fan in general, so definitely check out the review of that game there. Straight Jack Jim's review of Ardent Roleplay, which is a tabletop game mixed with like augmented reality integration. This was at PAX, I believe. Did you check this out, Natty?
Cool. Yeah, let me just quickly pitch this to you.
Do it.
So you're playing a D&D game. Somebody always wants to take Fireball and they set everything on fire. But you don't want to set your actual tabletop miniatures on fire. So what this lets you do is it uses an AR card on the table and you use your mobile phone screens so you can set it up so you can set the AR miniatures on fire or flood them or destroy them or make them overgrown and look ravaged or whatever you want to do.
What's that? That sounds so good. Like I saw a few pictures in Jim's article and I was like, how did I miss this? Like if I knew it was there, I would have bolted and been like, let me look at it. But the concept is so fantastic, really clever. Definitely give that one a read if you like your tabletop stuff. And then also we have Mikey's No More Heroes 3 Next Gen review as well. All of these articles are available to read at gameonoz.com now. And that is also where you can find all the latest gaming news and all our podcast episodes for the weekly show. And of course, Nuts and Bolts. So make sure you check it out there. And that is my lightning fast recaps for the week.
How
So
long did that take us? How long was the lightning fast
10,
recap?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, all right.
Well, there was a lot more games I was expecting than like when I was like in the concept came to me and I was like, okay, let's see what's coming out. And then I saw like all the stuff coming out like, for this week and I was like, this is a lot more than I thought there was. But then also we just have so many articles that have been published in the last week on the Game on Oz website too. And I just
our
thought
team is just crazy
they're
pumping out
great.
articles. Yeah.
So just like definitely go make sure you check them out. Most of us are all on social media too. So if you like an article that you've read, send us a tweet, maybe share it with your friends. It's fantastic to know that people have enjoyed reading some stuff that we're really passionate about, and we've had the opportunity to jump on and play. So there we go.
Absolutely, I absolutely loved it today. Somebody shared it. It was Grumpy's Splatoon 3 review and just said, oh yes, my daughter's absolutely loving this game, and then somebody called them out and said, no, you're forcing your daughter to play this game. Don't use them as an excuse.
That is basically I think what people will say to me about like my sister now she's getting older. Like I'm like, here's some of my favorite games, like you should play them. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening.
You're
there
being
too.
a wonderful influence on her.
I'm just trying to be a good role model and put what I think is like some of my favorite games in her hands, and then she could just thank me later.
Yeah, absolutely. You're introducing her to the classics.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she'll have a good fundamental understanding of what makes a good game.
Yes, exactly. So there we go. Lightning fast recaps of the week is done, which brings us into our bloody good games of the week. Thanks to Aussie Broadband, which is like
thank you, Aussie Broadband.
Thanks, Aussie Broadband. I like this is one of my favorite segments because then it kind of like pushes me almost to either play something new or just to kind of revisit an old favorite of mine. So I think I might start off with one that I actually got given to me through Hype Train Digital. So thank you so much. It is called Such Art Genius Art Simulator. I just call it just art. Such Art, sorry. And it's basically an art sim, but it is so in depth. So in the trailer here, you can basically see that it's set in the future. I think it's like 2107 or something like that, very, very far into the future. And your DNA possesses this artistic, gene. And basically you have your own studio space where you can basically create anything you want. Like it has a campaign mode with like tasks and stuff, but you can also create your own works of art. And then when you do make these works of art, you can basically sell them on like a little virtual marketplace where like your NPCs can like, purchase them. You have a little gallery. You can show them off like here. And yeah, like it's so in depth. And then like when you get money, you can buy more tools. So like there's some really obvious kind of tools like brushes and rollers and stuff like that, but then there are also other things like hair dryers and sandpaper, so you get all that like kind of texture and stuff for like you can flame some stuff up and things like that too. It's so fun. Like the actual freedom that you have to do whatever you want is great, and you can see people are decorating their art studios in whichever way you want, because obviously when you paint stuff, things are gonna fly everywhere. It's gonna get messy.
Yes.
But yeah, I genuinely really, really loved playing it because it's that whole concept and that whole idea of, there's no wrong thing. There's no wrong way to do it. Like it asked me to draw a picture of a cat or something like that. And it was like, draw a cat. And I was like, oh, but I want the cat to look like this. I want it to embody my spirit and things like that. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And it was the worst looking cat you have ever seen. And then the feeling of validation I got when I get this message in my little inbox going, oh my God, like it really spoke to me. Here's your money. And I was like, oh, I'm so good at this. It was like, it was a really wholesome, very cozy game. And it got to a point because I played it on stream and I would have a picture up of a Pokemon, and then that's what was the last 2 hours of the stream was me trying to draw Piplup and things like that. And it's really
Oh,
fun. It's really fun. I had such a great time playing it, and I don't have an artistic bone in my body, and it was just fun to have the freedom to really do whatever you wanted. And it was really clever in a way as well, where, for example, like I was painting my Piplup, and you can mix colors together and things like that. You've got a whole array of different like color palettes and stuff to choose from. So if you mix a certain color together and you need that color again, you have a little tool where you can like pick the color into this little machine zapper, and then you can get it like put into a tube for you to use again next. It's really cool. Really
awesome.
cool. It wasn't a game I was expecting to play, but when I was given the opportunity to play it, I was like, yeah, let's give it a go. Let's have some fun, muck around with it, and made a big mess. So everywhere in the studio there was like little remnants of like my spray paint or bits and pieces. It was really nice because it really makes you, or encourages you to make like the space your own, if that makes sense. So yeah, really fun, and it's just cozy and wholesome, and it's got like a creative mode in there too. It does have Twitch integration, which I couldn't get going unfortunately, but I think basically the idea was that the audience could, and maybe it was good I didn't have it on, but tell you what they thought of your art.
Oh no.
Yeah,
That could end badly.
Yeah, I know. So
lose some of the wholesome.
I know, but it was good. It was really it was great. It was clever. It's available on Steam. Such Art. I forgot to mention as well, Such Art was developed by Goose Minded, and I believe it's called Vulgi, and published by Hype Train Digital, which supplied the code for me for the stream. So thank you very much. And that is my bloody good game of the week. Are you good at art, Natty?
I am not an artist. I was just looking at the game though, and what you were talking about. Like, it sounds like it's a really good way of kind of nicely and gently nurturing that creative side.
Yeah.
Just to encourage you to try things and not so much worrying about the failure, because everybody sounds like they're supportive in the game when they come and have a look at your artwork.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know if there's an actual system or a way to have them, I guess, or have the NPCs, whoever's like roaming about in your gallery, or whoever you're doing these little commissions for in the game as like part of the campaign, there's a proper way that they actually rate it, or if it's just, if they ask for unconventional colors and you just splat about different colors everywhere, whether that's enough for you to earn the points to like get a good thing, or whether you can just put whatever you want and it's that friendly and approachable where it would be like, yeah, you did a good job,
Yeah.
I don't mind either way. I think it's really great. Sassless says, I'm sold. A lady said, I have recently played this and I had so much fun painting literally everything. All the tools felt very natural and intuitive as well. Because the tools in that was awesome. Like I got a little, I didn't get to do it, but you know how people do those textured paintings and they have the little like knife?
Yeah, the little scraper, and they build it up. Yeah,
I really wanted to do that, but they had that, and they had like a little they had spray cans and like almost like those water guns, but you could just spray paint out of, like little paint guns and stuff. Yeah, it's
awesome.
really fun.
Very cool.
I think if anyone wants to get the artistic side out, minus the mess, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It reminds me of a game I played a really long time ago. It was a messy indie called I'm not going to say it right, Pass Parrot, something like that. Hang on, I'm going to actually Google it. It's Pass and then Partout. Pass Patout. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it, but it's a really similar kind of thing, but obviously less high tech than this. So you have critics come through and you have to try and tailor the paintings to what the critics would want.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, you have a critic that loves your art the most. So you know, feature all your abstract or all pastels or whatever to try and tailor it to the critic. But this looks like 10 times built on of what that game is and looks like so much fun.
Yeah, it's a lot more in depth than I went in with no expectations, but the amount of what you could do, like you can see someone's just made stencils there to like,
I saw the dominoes before. Somebody like setting up a domino system to paint things.
Yeah. Like, I think, like, I love games where, like, the sky's the limit, you know, when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, all of these paintings I just saw on the wall there, and I was like, oh my god, you don't want to look at mine. Mine was shocking. Like, the first one I had to do was a unicorn, and I have to find a picture. Maybe I'll tweet it, because it was that embarrassing. I was like, this is so bad.
You do have to share.
No, I'll do it.
Maybe we need to all get a code for the game, and then we can all share our favorite pictures.
We all share our art collectively.
And we can have a competition.
And then we could print it out and put it in the Game On Studio for the weekly show. And that would be like our masterpiece.
Like all in the background on panels. I like it.
Yeah. Well,
who's telling Pete?
I will break the news. I'll let
him know.
Yeah. Well, what's
featured
your...
by us?
Yes, or collectively, we'll all do it. We'll pass it around.
Yeah.
I feel like I could talk about this game for ages, but I'm gonna stop now. Please, Natty, tell us what your bloody good game of the week is.
My bloody good game of the week is Overwatch 2. So I was a huge fan of the first Overwatch game. Basically, I was a lapsed FPS player, so I was massively into COD and then had to start working a full-time job, and so stopped playing FPS. And Overwatch is what brought me back to first-person shooters and competitive gameplay, really. I've been really lapsed on competitive gameplay as well. So I have so much nostalgia with this series, so I had to jump in and play Overwatch 2, especially because it's free to play now. There was no barrier to entry. Could just jump in. And all of my old favourite characters are still there, so jump in with Lucio and jump in with Mercy and Zenyatta. Can you tell I was a support player? But Diva as well, and just, running around causing havoc. And I was super lucky this week because I got to play with my Goa fam.
Yeah, that was so much fun. And we were talking about this briefly before, but you played this game in its early stages. Did you play it at launch, or was it like just after it first came out?
No, I'm pretty sure it was a launch game for me. Jumped straight into it because it was just a big hype game, right? And especially because all the other shooters around at the time were can it be any grittier? Like, the brown sepia, World War, gritty dudes, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was just such a breath of fresh air in the market. And again, probably Halo is the last kind of arena shooter before that was kind of close to this, with the novelty of the different guns and those kinds of things. So it was really, really something that brought a lot of my different gaming friends together, because discrete roles as well. So I will clearly say this, my aim is terrible. So being able to play somebody like Lucio, who has an area of effect, and then if somebody gets close, I can boop them away. It's perfect. And just the brightness of the game and Blizzard working really hard over the years to try and create a narrative with the game as well, with all the characters and some of them being related and having connected storylines. That's something that I've followed along the years as well. So just all that nostalgia brought into my gaming this week.
Yeah, I feel the same as well. I played this, I think it was pretty much on launch, myself and my partner. I think we both got it together, and this was my first introduction to like a team first-person shooter. For those who don't know, I started gaming what I consider really quite late in my life, so this was like my first taste of that, and it was just something really charming about the colorfulness and that kind of play, like that fun that Overwatch brought. And everything you were saying before about its characters and the narrative, and when they did those animated shorts, which were still now absolutely gorgeous. Like the standard and quality of those are incredible. Something that really resonated with me as well, I noticed immediately, was just how diverse all the characters were. Like, obviously you've got a good mix of characters in there who are human, or part human or part robot, or things like that too. But the fact that they were like, it's still in our world almost, but it's you've got characters from different countries and stuff like that, and just having that representation, like having Symmetra for me, like for example, was incredible. It was just, I don't know, it was something that really stood out and like was quite like close to my heart. And I feel like that's something that they had done really well. And like you mentioned before as well, when it comes to aiming and like your area of effect stuff, I think that's something good about Overwatch, is that it is quite approachable for like a good variety of players. Like you've definitely got your characters where like if you're an experienced gamer, or you have good aim and you're pretty handy that way, you have those characters that can cater to those play styles. But then you've also got other characters who are a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more easier to learn and get a grasp on if you are new to gaming, which I think is also why I enjoyed it at the time of launch as well. And it's interesting seeing and looking back on my Overwatch journey, seeing my transition between playing characters like Mercy, for example. I think it was like one of the first ones I always played as, and now I'm playing characters like McCree and Zenyatta and things like that. It's great, and the longevity of it is great. But there is something I do want to talk about. But firstly, thanks to Aussie Broadband for giving us our bloody good games of the week this week.
Oh, amazing. And yeah, thank you for bringing the Goa crew back together, Overwatch 2. Just getting straight who'd never played Overwatch on board. We had Menfonso, who was just, top tier competitive gamer. And you, I think you're a bit more skilled than I am at gaming, so it was really nice that we had all these different skill levels and experience levels of the game that could still come together.
Like it didn't like hinder our experience at all. That like we'll make it very clear, Menthy was calling most of the shots there. Like
yes, absolutely.
Definitely the most experienced kind of person on the team, but like you said, all of us having these different skill levels, it all still worked really well, and we all still had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What I do want to have a chat about for a bit is, we've both played this game pretty much since launch. And Overwatch 2 obviously came out early this month, went free to play. How do we feel about Overwatch 2 coming off, like, I guess, the back of the first game? Is it what you expected? Like, I know what I want to say, but is it what you expected? Like, do you think Overwatch 2 should have been a free update, I feel like is what a lot of people are saying? Or do you feel like this still feels different enough that it's its own sequel? Like, what do you think? And I'm interested to know what chat thinks about this as well.
Yeah, definitely put your opinions, what you guys think about Overwatch 2 in there. I read Nico's review that he put out, I think on day of launch, which was essentially saying, I think that they promised us a few things with Overwatch 2 that they really didn't deliver on. I don't know about you, but I absolutely loved the PvE challenges and things that they did in Overwatch 1. And it was always, the special event kind of things. But I think they'd kind of inferred that was going to be more of a mainstay element in Overwatch 2. And for them to have launched the game with that completely absent is disappointing. I am relieved that I think after all the loot box debacle that at least we're not worrying about loot boxes. That's kind of good. There's no more gambling in my game, so I can feel free to recommend it to anybody and not have to worry that I'm going to cause them to become addicted to loot boxes.
Which is a whole kettle of fish in itself. And it's interesting because, I feel like the strongest parts of Overwatch, obviously the main part being its multiplayer, those special events like you mentioned, like they had oh god, I'm trying to remember the name of the event. There was an event where it was a bit of a throwback to like the younger days of Overwatch. That's when you got the Commander Morrison skin. I don't know if you remember that. It was like the young version of Soldier 76.
Yes.
And there was a lot of storytelling in like a PvE space. Even not even just that, but even the Halloween events that they did. The first one really, really fantastic. Now I don't know if you were following every Halloween event they were doing, because when the first Halloween event came out, I was like, oh my god, it was so good. Like Junkenstein's Revenge.
Yes, that was amazing.
So good. And then I just kind of hoped every year after they would change it up, but it was the same Junkenstein revenge every year.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a shame. I was like, because it's so good, and now obviously it's just waves of enemies over and over again, but it just felt like that kind of more and more every year. That was like, oh yeah, I know what to expect. Like, yeah, there's a couple
Yeah.
extra skins, but like what you said, and like both of us mentioned before, what we really loved about Overwatch was the storytelling and the characters and the world that it was set in. And I do remember early days of Overwatch 2, they said they wanted to focus on more of the that kind of narrative driven style. And you're right,
Mm.
they haven't done that. And
No.
that kind of, it does make me quite sad, because like for me personally, going into Overwatch 2, well, actually, I had my sister actually jumped onto Overwatch 2 first, because Overwatch 1 was her first person shooter, because I said to her, hey, this is really fun, you should get into this. And she got
Awesome.
like hardcore into it. And you think I'm competitive, you should see what she's like.
Okay.
But I said to her, because I hadn't played number 2 yet, and I said, oh, how was it? And I was like, how's Overwatch 2? And she goes, feels kind of like the first one.
Yeah.
And like you could tell, like she was still excited, because you had Kiriko, you had Junker Queen and Sojourn, and those the new characters, but everything else, like nothing made it really jump out. And I'm like, wow, this is Overwatch 2. Like for me, it did feel like, because they always obviously introduced new maps and new characters along the way during the course of Overwatch 1. It felt like that kind of accelerated into one big update, with all these extra. I love the the robot escort like game mode. Like that's really cool. New maps are really cool. How do we feel also about the 6 teams stacked to the 5 as well?
I'm actually enjoying the faster pace, because, historically you'd have your 2 tanks, where now the kind of general leaning is just having one. And it feels more frantic and fast paced. I think I'm enjoying it more, just because reliably games are going, more quickly. So the upside to that as well is, if you're getting absolutely smashed, you get smashed more quickly and you die more quickly. So then you can get into another game and hopefully turn the tide a little bit. What are your thoughts about the new composition?
I don't know. I'm feeling like two minds about it. Like I agree with everything you're saying, because I just feel like the game is running a bit faster. But I was interested to see what you thought from a support perspective, because I don't know if it's just because I'm a little out of practice, or whether, I don't know, I just feel like I'm struggling a little bit more, because obviously the tanks are so much stronger. Obviously, because there's only one tank now. For those who don't know, like the usual was, what was it? 2 tanks, 2 DPS, 2 healers, and now there's just one solo tank. I don't know. I'm struggling as a support. I feel like I struggle a bit more than I remember than I did playing 1. But I don't know. I feel like I got to test the waters. Like if I play competitive, like which I haven't dared dip my toes into just yet, because I did play a lot of that when 1 came out. I'll feel a little bit more of it there. But
I'm not ready for competitive yet. I'm trying like all the characters that I didn't play as much around Overwatch 1, and especially the new characters as well. So I was trying to play Kiriko, and our team just got absolutely smashed. And there was this the old school Overwatch that we love, where people in chat are just absolutely smashing you, just like, oh, you wouldn't be saying GG if you had these supports, and just all that kind of rubbish, and far less polite versions of what I just said. I'm not quite ready for competitive yet, but I do know what you mean with I felt like I had more to do as a support when there was multiple tanks. with double the supports to one tank, it's definitely now I feel like somebody definitely has to go Lucio, because you need to have somebody that's going with the group pushing the target if it's
Yeah.
one of those kinds of maps, and then somebody who will go off with the flankers and support
Yeah.
the DPS characters. That's kind of how it feels to me. So if nobody's playing Lucio, I'll go Lucio, but otherwise I'll pick one of the flanking supports like the Mercy, where I
Yeah.
can just fly around, or
Yeah.
Zenyatta, where I can put my orbs out to the guys in the sky, or around to the side. So
Yeah.
um, maybe it's a little bit more predictable as a support. You can't have multiple hard pushes
Yeah.
coming in. It's just not the one focus push, and then maybe a couple of flankers, depending on how it's working out.
Yeah. I think
Mm.
it's it's a bit of an interesting one. Especially when you have such pokey DPS as well, like Tracer and stuff on your back most of the
Yes.
time. Which can be quite frustrating.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
but
I mean, I think we both suffered with getting killed a lot in our back lines, because
yeah.
you've only got the one tank and your DPS is gone, and so you've
Yeah.
got a Genji or a Tracer that's jumping in behind you, and you have to fend for yourself.
Yeah, no, it definitely, I feel like it's definitely been a bit of a challenge staying alive. And I feel like the supports become a little bit more vulnerable because you don't, like, in some respect, have that second tank kind of covering for you
Mm,
instead of like pushing like that hard kind of front, you know?
frontline
Um,
role, yeah.
but speaking of speaking of Tracer,
Oh yes.
yeah, um, and speaking of Overwatch, and speaking of junk food, McDonald's.
Oh,
Um,
oh,
I'm like, how do
10
we
out of 10
get there?
segue.
So for those who haven't seen it, McDonald's Australia and Overwatch have a collaboration going on at the moment. So they basically have what they're calling like an Overwatch meal. And I got an email actually saying, buff your Overwatch meal, get this Overwatch meal and get a free Tracer skin. Have you seen a Tracer skin?
Oh, I haven't seen it
Okay, I'm actually going
actually.
to get it up so you can have a
You have
look.
to get it
I
up.
want to know, and I'm kind of glad I'm getting your first reaction to this
Yes.
as well. I won't say anything. So basically what happens, oh, actually, here we go. Hold on, let me get this picture up.
Oh, the
Um,
suspense is killing
the
me.
suspense. So
Oh,
you have to order through, because my partner's done this already, and I'm gonna admittedly do it tonight. Um, you you order through the McDonald's app, and you'll see there's an Overwatch meal. And when you do the Overwatch meal, whatever email I believe is connected to your account, is what you get this Overwatch skin. I think it's like a code or something sent to you.
okay. Yeah.
You can only redeem once per per account.
Email. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get it up here now. You see that?
Oh.
Thoughts?
Oh, that's
Mm.
interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's like 90s X-Men.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, it is. I
yeah.
I don't know, because like I saw the rumors when we were at PAX last week. Like McDonald's had put out that first teaser, like that first tweet that was like, oh, they posted a picture of Overwatch, like the logo, like Overwatch 2 logo, and we're like, oh my god, what is it? Um, I don't know if I was expecting too much from the Overwatch skin,
No.
being something outrageously, not different, but just a bit more than like a color and a haircut kind of deal
Yeah.
going on.
I've just been catching up on chat, and Doormat has just said it's a skin from Overwatch 1 apparently.
Oh, oh, oh. A great,
I never mained Tracer, so
yeah, right.
I wouldn't have known.
Um,
Um,
hello to Gracia as well, or Grace. Look, she says, look, not the cutest skin.
no. Oh, let me describe it for people who are listening. So it's
Yes,
like grey, like
like a great
chunky-ish
base.
base,
Yeah,
yeah. with like yellow feature detailing. So like the bottom third of the leggings are yellow, but then it's got like dotting gradient, like large dot
Yeah.
polka dot gradient.
Like it's not even like a yellow, like a McDonald's yellow. It's a like a highlighter yellow and green kind of yellow.
Yeah.
And like I think they call this one like the lightning skin, and I've only just noticed the lightning bolt on the like the belly section into the
Oh,
leg,
yes.
because I didn't pick that up the first time. I was so overwhelmed by all the yellow. I was like,
And
like,
mine did.
but yeah, like
It,
I
it
don't
might
know
look
if I call
better
it
in
Macca's
game.
themed. Like if it was red and yellow, I'd be like, that's a bit funny, like a little bit on the nose,
Yeah.
but I'll take it. But I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm surprised now that Doormat said that it's a skin from Overwatch 1. Like, I would have assumed they would have done a
A new
unique
one?
skin for Macca's.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
the amount of money and effort they've put into this promotion. Like, we're all
yeah,
going out and buying a Macca's meal. I'm going to go buy one tomorrow.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
I feel almost like a bit cheated knowing that now, Doormat. I should have been kept in the dark.
Yeah. It's a no, it's a interesting one, that's for sure. I'm interested. I mean, look, I'm gonna get it anyway, just for the lols, and I also because it's the lightning skin. I feel like in my
Yeah.
namesake, I should probably get it.
Yeah, I think
But
that's a safe bet.
I don't know. I think because one, if it is what Doormat says is an Overwatch 1 skin, you know, I again like what you said. I feel a little bit cheated. Like because especially because it felt like they were hyping this up. I was like, oh my god, McDonald's Overwatch exclusive skin. What?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it looks nicer in game. Maybe we'll just have to find out.
Yeah, I think it will look better in game. But you'd think that for the promotional picture, they'd have something that would just be like, wow, that's amazing. Or that
Yeah.
reminds me of McDonald's in some way, but it's a bit like mushed up French fry on concrete.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. But
Uh,
nevertheless, I kind of do on the flip side of this, I do kind of like the idea that I guess Australia is being included in some cool
yes.
collaboration, because I feel like I could be wrong. I feel like there was a Domino's thing that happened with the game at one point, but I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
nice to see. Usually, I feel like we miss out on these cool like promotions and
We
stuff.
do.
And
Well, I think we're on a roll because we had the BTS McDonald's thing.
yes, actually, I do
Um,
remember that.
and um the sauce, the Cajun sauce is beautiful.
That was really
Um,
good.
and then you had the Kid Leroy one, which I was surprised we got. I don't know if you saw that we had the
No.
Kid Leroy promotion. It was essentially just the meal that Kid Leroy orders, which I can't
Oh,
even remember what it was, but it was just like a meal with a couple of nuggets and a storm or something. I cannot
oh,
remember for the life of me
yeah,
now what it
right.
was.
Well, look, at least we're not
Um,
getting left out. You know,
yeah, exactly.
maybe is the upside to this. Like we're getting involved.
Yes.
But yeah,
And maybe everywhere around the world got the disappointing skin.
I think I did see. You know what? I think I did see like when it was revealed, because I think it's only in Australia at the moment, or is only going to be
Oh.
in Australia. I don't know. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But I think I saw some people who weren't from Australia who saw it and they're like, no, I don't care anymore. like, because they had like massive FOMO. They were like, I'm not going to do it. I do want to touch on one thing that I am very passionate and excited for that's happening. I believe it's tomorrow morning,
Ooh.
just before we wrap up the rest of the show. Well, there's actually two showcases happening. I believe they're both this week. Well, the one for sure that's happening tomorrow morning that I'm excited for is the Resident Evil showcase. But there
Very
is
cool.
a Silent Hill showcase that has been announced as well, which I believe is also this week. But I do obviously want to talk about the Resident Evil one, because
Yeah, of course.
I do love me some Resident Evil.
So have they done like a promo for it to say what they're going to be talking about?
Well, yeah. So the thing is it's going to be a mix of things. So I've got playing at the moment the Resident Evil 4 remake trailer, and when they announced the showcase, they said they'll be talking more about that, and they'll be talking more about the Resident Evil Village DLC that's coming at the end of this month, I believe. But the only thing they didn't mention was the poor well, you can call it Reverse or REverse, which was like their multiplayer online aspect where you could play as Leon and Claire, and you like basically are versing everyone else, and you can turn into some of the biggest baddies of the Resident Evil franchise. And yeah, so I think it's going to be an interesting one tomorrow night, because I was personally looking forward to Reverse, but I am so looking forward to the Resident Evil 4 remake. This is the first game where, first Resident Evil game that I've played like the original or closest to the original version of, that's getting that remake treatment that Resident Evil 2 and 3 got. And I'm so keen for it, because like I'm looking at this trailer again for the first time in ages, and it makes me remember what the old one was like and how many different levels and steps this new remake really amps it up. Like, obviously in terms of graphics, but I think in the way it's just going to play and stuff as well. I cannot wait for them to hopefully show more of it Thursday morning. And I'm really looking forward to the Resident Evil Village DLC as well.
So just confirming, this is definitely a remake.
Yes, it's not a remaster, it's a remake. So like fully from the ground up. So it's not just here's the PlayStation 4 Resident Evil version that we brought out and we're just tweaking it a bit. Like, they're fully, like, all the character models and stuff. I feel like the best thing to do is maybe put up now the like the original. Oh, actually, someone's done it for us already. I think it's good old IGN. They, like, just looking at the comparison between the two, it's not just that simple, like, yeah, we've just tweaked a few things. They've actually, like, everything, I think, is getting kind of redone, especially because with RE4, and I'll just switch this over again, there are quite, like, open sections of the map that you can explore, kind of like this one here, because you can go into different locations and stuff, but you can see the stark contrast between
they've changed the whole tone of the game, haven't they?
They've definitely made it a lot more scary looking. Like, I would say, like, Resident Evil 4, I wouldn't say is that high in my scary books, but gameplay wise, I always described Resident Evil 8 is how did I describe it? As like Resident Evil 4 and 7 had a baby, like in terms of like the actual action, like game mechanic part of it was very much like RE4. So I think a lot of people who maybe played Village will quite enjoy 4, maybe if they haven't played it before. And especially people who like playing in third person, because I know first person point of view isn't a big thing for a lot of people. I don't mind either. I think it just adds a different experience. But yeah, if you're like looking at like these locations we're showing on the screen at the moment, it looks incredibly, like, vastly different. This isn't just a one and done touch up. Like, this is fully remade. But you know, I've seen comparisons between 2 and 3. Obviously, I wasn't around when the original 2 and 3 came out, but seeing the quality on, like, especially the new gen consoles and stuff as well, of how beautiful looking those games looked. And it's weird saying beautiful to a horror game, but how, like, intricate and detailed and stuff those games were. It just makes me excited for what they're going to show with 4, for sure.
It's really interesting because one of the things that I really like, and me saying like, is somebody who doesn't play horror games but sits next to their husband while my husband's playing horror games, is that thing that naturally you had to have with those old school games, which is that, like, distance fog, because they couldn't actually generate the image of things going on far in the distance. They just put like a dense fog in the forest, and that would fix them not having to generate all these things going on in the distance. Whether now with these games they're having to actually physically put like really nice fog in.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
want that spooky vibe, which is definitely a different thing to see. What are you looking forward to most, do you think, with playing the game again? Are you hoping for reliving the same experience, or do you want there to be new and surprising things happening?
I don't mind a bit of column A, column B. Like, I think because obviously RE4, when I played it, it was an older game, but I only played it like a year or two ago now. It wasn't that scary because obviously the graphics and stuff were like They were just fine. Like there was still some scary moments, but it was very. I'm trying to like put the right word for it because I did love it. It is one of my favorite ones. But I think about when I was playing Resident Evil Village, and there's a few moments like when Ethan walks through like all this kind of forest before he gets to the village, and there's this beautiful like sunset like over the entire landscape.
Yeah.
And like obviously this was the first game that was on a new gen console as well. Or like had that new gen kind of treatment. I remember just going, oh, I was like, this is gonna be great, because in contrast, those dark, dark shadowy kind of areas, and the you see things like leaking out the walls, or you see blood on the floor, and the reflection, all of that just adds more, I feel like, to that level of immersion and horror. So I think like with 4, I'm interested to see as well narrative wise, because again, this game is a little old, the story is a little dated. Like I already know from talking to a friend, like Resident Evil 4, like because they released it on VR as well, only I think in the last year or so.
Oh,
they gave the VR
wow. I didn't
treatment,
know that.
but they actually like removed like there was like one scene, like some lines that was said to, like from, I won't say what it is, but it was just like from a male character to a female character that would be considered very inappropriate.
Yes.
And like it's just interesting to see how much they will change in that aspect. And as well, like the character of Ashley, who I have a love-hate relationship with, because you're basically she's like the president's daughter.
Yeah.
You're trying to save her and keep her alive. I'm interested to see whether they give her a little bit more confidence, or a little bit more I don't know what the word is. Like she's very helpless in the original, and I'm not saying that I want her to turn around and be the next Ada Wong. Like that's not like that's Ada's own thing. But whether like I don't know, Ashley is just a little bit more. Like stronger in character, I think. Yeah, more stronger in character. Like it's like I would be scared too if I had all these like scary, like obviously infected people following me. Like I'd be terrified too. But just I think I'd love to see if she develops more as a character, and kind of how maybe the combat may change. I think the combat from memory was fine as it was. Like I really enjoyed it. There's nothing I felt about it where I was like, oh, I hate this. It was all quite enjoyable. But yeah, I think I'm just interested to see narrative wise and mechanic wise how much they are willing to change up, especially when you've got those fans that hate things being changed and everything should be as it is. I'm pretty open and flexible to change. So I guess only time will tell, and hopefully tomorrow morning. I think it's like quite early in the morning for Australia.
Are you setting your alarm?
Maybe. It depends if I have an early night. It depends. But yeah, so I'm quite looking forward to that. Maybe we'll get some news on Reverse. Maybe we won't. I'm not holding my hopes out for it. And then we'll have Village DLC at the end of the month, so that'll be pretty good.
Yeah, that'll be very cool.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. But I think that's kind of all we have time for today. But thank you so much for jumping on the podcast with me as well.
Oh no, thank you for having me, Stormy. Lovely to catch up with you.
No, always nice to catch up with you too. Like we haven't done this together like before, like just you and me. So this is really nice.
Yeah,
I was gonna say let's do it more often, but I also want Jim to get better and be well.
We need Jim back. We definitely need Jim back. I feel so spoiled. I got so much Stormy over the last fortnight. I'm just
from having like nothing of like us not meeting for so long, and then hanging out at PAX, us having us cute little hot chockies with Doom Cutie, and then now playing Overwatch and stuff together. Yeah, it's great, and it's like it sounds corny, but it's just like that power of gaming that just like comes through, and it's still like kept us connected. I really really like that.
It's amazing.
But thank you.
You know what we might have to do?
What?
Do a spin-off show.
Oh. Ooh. Oh yeah, we could definitely talk about that later.
If the audience wants that, tweet
if they
us.
want it, just let us know. Tweet us at Game on Oz. But if you are enjoying the show, make sure this is Jim's just got a spin-off, you say. Well, if you want to see more of us or more Jam, the weekly show, Nuts and Bolts, all the Game on Oz reviews that we relayed earlier in the show, make sure you check out our website, gameonoz.com. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on all the socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything, so you don't miss a single thing. And catch us Nuts and Bolts tomorrow.
Well,
Maybe?
it depends
Or
on if
Jim's
Jim's
sick.
better.
Yeah. Otherwise, stay tuned for next week. Jim needs
Yeah,
to rest
definitely
up.
next week.
So yeah, we hope to catch you again same time next week. And make sure you subscribe to us on all those podcast apps that you love to use. And we'll catch you in the next show. Thank you so much, Natty.
Thanks, Stormie.
Bye, chat.
Bye.